Hey, it's Nikachu. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a Magic the Gathering combo deck that exposes competitive Magic's greatest lie. Let's take a look at the action.
To Skyclave, where you can tutor for it, and then it says it out of the battlefield. You can sacrifice a creature to destroy target non-land permanent, so kind of get you a little bit additional removal spells. And then Lively Dirge being the
Levi Gaines starts the game off by playing and attacking with a Monastery Swift Spear. Levi's on the hyper-aggressive mono-red deck in the Pioneer format. But Levi's gonna need to call for help because he's up against NRG Series champion Harrison Kanfer. And Kanfer brought the hard counter to Levi's mono-red cards with the Amalia combo deck, which we'll talk more about later. Right now, Kanfer plays Lunarch Veteran, which gains a life whenever Kanfer puts a creature in play. You see, this deck features a lot of life gain, the ultimate enemy of any red deck. And an enemy of red decks is an enemy of Levi.
this kind of weird way to help set up the combo. You can sort of entomb for a Wild Growth Walker and then also return multiple creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield. So interesting main deck decisions here from Harrison as we see a flip card. I believe that is Kumano. Yep, that's going to be a Kumano. So relatively decent start here for Levi, especially if there is a Spectacle card to follow that up with the damage from the Kumano.
And there sure is. It's going to be light at the stage, basically the best one, revealing Wizard's Lightning and Monstrous Rage. An aggressive start here for Levi. As light at the stage, remember, you can play them till the end of your next turn.
Levi follows up with a Kumano Faces of Kakazan, which pings Kanfer for 1. And now Levi calls in reinforcements with Light Up the Stage, which exiles 2 cards from his deck and he can play them until the end of his next turn. Wizard's Lightning and Monstrous Rage were revealed, which is worth 6 damage. So Kanfer has to be careful how he plays his cards, or he could be killed out of nowhere.
Monsters Swift are going to be laying the beatdowns for 3 damage,
Well,
not choosing to block the Lunarch better.
Kind of a problem here. Monastery Swift Spear, as good as the card is, does not have the wizard creature type. So if Levi wants to cast that Wizard's Lightning discounted, gonna need an additional follow-up, either Soulscar Mage or...
Kanfer follows up with another life gain card, Prosperous Innkeeper, which when it enters the battlefield gets a treasure token, but also gained a life from the Lunarch Veteran. But this card also has the ability to gain a life whenever Kanfer plays a creature. And if Kanfer keeps playing these creatures, he'll gain more life than Levi can deal damage.
There's this Prosperous Innkeeper joins the fray, and with Lunarch Veteran, going to gain a little bit of life back coming in. So this is part of the power, the staying power that this Amalia deck has access to, is these Soul Sister type effects that whenever creatures enter, you gain life. Both creatures in play for Harrison have that line of text. So going to need to get way more aggressive, as here comes an attack with Monstrous Swift Spear, Monstrous Rage to give it that monster roll. And a pile of damage coming across once again.
Levi attacks with Swift Spear and also plays Monstrous Rage for a total of 5 damage. And unfortunately, he has to abandon his Wizard's Lightning in exile, which can cost 1 if he has a wizard in play. But his Swift Spear isn't a wizard, it's only a human monk.
None of those can be cast because there is no wizard, so kind of a bit unfortunate sequence of draws here for Levi.
Yeah, no third land even to really start doing it the manual way. And here comes Wild Growth Walker. If Amalia is the follow-up, it might just be combo time. 2 life here from both the Veteran and the Innkeeper.
Harrison Kanfer plays the first half of his combo with the Wild Growth Walker, a 1/3 creature, and whenever a creature explores, it gets a +1/+1 counter and gains 3 life. More life gain? You can see Levi's soul leave his body. But it's about time that we explain how this combos with Amalia, because she says whenever you gain life, you can explore. When a creature explores, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a land, you can put it into your hand. If it's not, you can choose to keep it on top or put it into your graveyard. Then put a +1/+1 counter on the exploring creature. And when Amalia gets enough +1/+1 counters to get to exactly 20 power, kaboom! Destroy all other creatures. And remember, when Amalia explores, that triggers Wild Growth Walker to gain life. And when you gain life, that triggers Amalia to explore. A chain reaction that will only stop when Amalia reaches 20 power to blow up the Wild Growth Walker. And with Levi at 19 life, believe me, he doesn't want to see Amalia at 20 power.
As the 1/3 blockers added to the mix, Kanfer up to a, I'd say somewhat precarious 13, but with Levi missing land drops, things are problematic. Slickshot show off the draw.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if Kanfer goes for the combo, do we have the Monstrous Rage to draw the game?
Now the commentators brushed on a key interaction that Levi has up his sleeve versus this combo deck, and that is with Monstrous Rage. An instant for 1 red, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and attach a Monstrous Roll token which gives it another +1/+1. But how does that stop the combo? The answer is it doesn't, and that's exactly Levi's plan. You see, as Amalia combos off and creeps her power up to 20, Levi can respond to the explosion resolving by playing Monstrous Rage on the Amalia. That puts her power to 23, which shoots over the exact 20 needed to blow up all other creatures. Remember, when Amalia combos off, she needs to blow up that Wild Growth Walker, or else the deck doesn't stop. The triggers are mandatory. And if a chain reaction can't be stopped, the game ends in a draw. Harrison can't risk playing Amalia.
Powerful, extremely versatile, and as you mentioned, actually pretty good against mono red from just the incidental life gain, buying you so much time, even with the Monstrous Rages there to potentially draw the game. A lot of red removal spells in the form of all these burn spells.
On the 3rd turn, Levi's Kamano flipped into the Etchings of Kamano, a 2/2 creature with haste which let him attack immediately with his Swift Spear. Harrison didn't dare risk blocking with anything and just took the 4 damage, because Levi's going to need to deal way more than that to compete with all this life gain on the table.
You just have a lot of flexibility against the aggro matchup, a lot of great blockers, a lot of incidental life gain. That's what the mix you're looking for against aggro most of the time. Levi doing a good job presenting quite a bit of damage here still, as Kanfer is down to 9, as here comes Sentinel of the Nameless City. This is the combination that beat Levi in game 1.
NRG champion Harrison Kanfer isn't showing any mercy, as he gains life slamming down Sentinel of the Nameless City, a giant 3/4 blocker that makes map tokens when it enters or attacks. And Levi needs to be scared of these map tokens, because they can be used to explore other creatures, which triggers the Wild Growth Walker to gain life. Levi's red deck is all but doomed.
So very, very heads up play here for Harrison, recognizing that Monstrous Rage is potentially an issue.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, here once again, Sentinel of the Nameless City, just a huge problem. It's just a lot of stats for three mana. We get an attack and get 2 damage across, lose the Monstrous Swift Spear and the Monstrous Roll, but that gives us light up the stage. We have 1 mana up still, representing potential Monstrous Rage. So I don't think Harrison's gonna move here. Finally found 3rd land and 4th land. Maybe a little late to the party.
Levi gets in a small attack with his Etching of Kamano for 2 damage, which lets him play light up the stage, revealing 2 lands. But he doesn't need lands right now. He needs a way of getting through this wall of life gain creatures. But there's something even worse than that. Up until now, Harrison wasn't even trying yet.
You die on the spot, and Levi knows that. Has to pass the turn back, but I don't know that there's any good moves for Levi, as Harrison just untapping with Wild Growth Walker and Sentinel is so much life.
Yeah, what's funny about this too is there's like a little bit of a cat and mouse game where even if Levi doesn't have the removal, even if Levi doesn't have the piece of interaction to go for the combo, he just...
It's about time Harrison shows how a real card player plays Magic. He slams down Cenote Scout, gaining 2 life from his triggers. It explores when it enters the battlefield, gaining 3 life from Wild Growth Walker. But Harrison isn't done yet. He cracks his map so his Sentinel explores, gaining another 3 life. Gets in an attack for 3, which gets him another map token activation, to get another 3 life. Harrison gained 11 life this turn, undoing all of Levi's work.
Shot. Now, the question is it going to be enough after all that? Not clear, but we'll see exactly. Levi's deep in the tank here.
Yeah, you could maybe go like Slick Shot, cast one of the Wizard's Lightnings, and... Ooh, okay, I actually don't hate this. Because now Harrison's in a spot where do you respond to this and go for the Amalia? And then if Harrison does go for the Amalian response, then you have access to the Monstrous Rage. But Harrison does have a Fatal Push in hand, so we can just pop the treasure and then use the Revolt to kill that Rampaging Ferocidon.
Yeah, it looks like that's what we're going to do here.
Levi finds some hope to Kanfer's life gain strategy with the rampaging Ferocidon, which says players can't gain life. But NRG Series champion Harrison Kanfer is always 2 steps ahead, and cracks his treasure token to play his fatal push, to send this dino to extinction, along with the rest of Levi's hope for winning this game.
We're going to go ahead and take care of that Ferocidon. No thank you, says Harrison. And now we're going to move. We are going to Court of Calling for X's 2 here.
Wait, Drake, I think, well, I mean, maybe we don't go for Amalia, but if we do, we might see a draw here.
At end of turn, Harrison taps all his creatures to pay for Court of Calling's Convoke cost. X equals 2, so it lets him look through his deck for any 2-mana creature and put it directly in play. Between Wild Growth Walker, Dina Soul Steeper, Prosperous Innkeeper, there's so many ways to put an end to Levi's misery.
Yeah,
I would actually be pretty surprised if we're grabbing Amalia here.
Yeah, maybe just like a bat or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right, it's Amalia, so that means Harrison's got to have some kind of a plan for what's going on here.
Harrison, no! He grabbed Amalia. He plans to combo off. And remember, Levi's kept up 1 red mana this entire game. If Levi has Monstrous Rage, Kanfer will fall into a trap.
Now we have to go through all the motions, which is maybe kind of a mess. All right, yeah, we're just going to put all the Explorers from right now in a separate pile. I appreciate that, Harrison, as there's a Fatal Push to the bin. There's another Amalia to the bin. Yeah, we're going through this very quickly. Cord to the bin. Where are the lands? There's one. Land goes to hand.
Okay, we're using the die to represent the number of counters on it. Okay, I appreciate this. And then we're just going to count it all up after. This makes sense.
Yeah, this makes sense. So the lands go to hand, the spells go to bin, and he's going to leave that one on top the whole time. So we actually do want to draw the Aether Flux. So now, yeah, that doesn't matter because we have the Monstrous Rage.
Levi has Monstrous Rage!
And
oh
Harrison...
my goodness.
Oh my god, that's just a draw?
Yep, that's a
Just
draw.
a draw?
Harrison's triggers go infinite and the game is a draw, which means they move on to game 3. And now we reach the whole point of this video. I have a question for everybody. In this best of 3 match with Harrison leading with 1 win and now having a draw, what happens if Levi ties the match by winning game 3? A, does the match end in a draw? Or B, does the match continue to game 4? Do you know the answer? You would think a best of 3 match would end in 3 games, but no. If the match is tied after 3 games, the players go on to game 4. That's because tournament matches aren't actually best of 3. They are first to 2 wins. Best of 5 matches are actually first to 3 wins. Taken from the MTG wiki, a Magic match consists of a series of games that are played until one side has won a set number of games, usually 2. Drawn games don't count towards this goal, as was seen at Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor, when the semifinals match went 7 games long because Simon Nielsen could give his opponent's Wild Growth Walker indestructible with Lauren's Escape, so that it would survive Amalia's destruction and continue triggering indefinitely.
Gonna have another draw.
I believe we're gonna head to game 7.
So we essentially have what's best 3 out of 5 actually out of 7?
So, matches of Magic aren't actually best of 3. It's a total lie, despite how matches of Magic are advertised even on MTG Arena. But conventionally, we just call it a best of 3 match, because unintentional draws with time still left in the round is incredibly rare. Getting back to our match, Kanfer only fell into the draw because he had never seen the Monstrous Rage interaction before. After all, why would you expect your opponent to play their pump spell on your creature? But it was just an opportunity to dominate a 3rd game in a row, smashing his opponent to take the match by winning 2 games first. Did you know competitive matches actually work like that? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you like this video, I know you'll just love this one over here.